Hey, what's up guys? In this video we are going to be layering kicks and going over some techniques and considerations when you are layering kicks. So layering kicks is a good way to achieve more impact in your kick drums. And this is used for styles of music where I guess the kick is more of the focus. And it's a good way to just kind of have an amazing, like, holy crap kick in your track. And this is basically how it's achieved. So you take two or more kicks or sounds, which we'll get into, and you combine them or layer them with varying degrees of processing or no processing at all. And you get a cool sound. So I'm going to choose two kicks here. Okay, there's one. I'm gonna try to find one. Yeah, there's a good one with a bit of low end in there. So I have my two kicks here. One sounds like this. Actually, I'll just adjust the fade there. Bring the BPM up just a little bit. We got that one and that one. One is more, I guess, mid-rangey. It's more mid-rangey, more punchy. This one's more low-endy. So they're good for mating, I suppose. So first careful consideration is, or I guess the thing you gotta do is just bring down the volume a little bit. And you don't want, the limiter to be, getting all pummeled. So we have our kicks here. And you'll notice that, with all sounds, it's, varying cycles of negative and positive air pressure and things like that. And they all have their own kind of waveform. And if we look at this, we'll notice that one goes down, right, to negative, and then one goes up to positive. And what that can do is that can kind of cause the sound to the overall kick when they're combined to kind of cancel out. And this is, something called aligning the phase. And when you're recording drums, this can be a problem because sound is hitting the mic, different mics at different times. So that can cause like phasing and stuff like that. So you'll get like weird stuff. So what you can do is essentially align them more or less, right? Right. So you'll notice that, these two are basically canceling each other out. And we're not getting the super cool impact that we want. I'll go to fixed grid and turn it off. I can move this over here. So more or less, they are in phase. Right, and I'll just kind of compare. Right. We get a different vibe on the impact. So back in the day, they didn't have the alignment tools that we have now. It was all the tape. And if you go through the mixing console, they'd be able to hear that things weren't quite right. And what they would do is they'd use a big lighty up mixing console thing. And they go to the channel that it was on, and they would actually involve electronic circuitry, and then they would flip this around. And this is what this little symbol means. We are inverting the phase. So we're basically flipping it around. It's the same thing, but its relationship is flipped. We can't actually see it here, but trust me, it's flipped around. And what this will do is this will kind of make this dip and this peak kind of both go dippy. You know what I mean? So we'll do this. Right? So when we invert the phase, that's flipped. We get our impact. They're not canceling each other out, so we get that super cool stuff. Things combine when they need to combine. It's not combining here, but whatever. It's kind of doing its thing. And what this does is this kind of, it adds together, and you get the harmonics together, and it sounds pretty cool. Right? From here, you could be like, yeah, there's my kick. Isn't it cool? But let's get a little more, let's get some more I guess, finesse in what's going on here. So I'm going to adjust the length of this clip to this peak here, right? So the tippy top peak, and I'm going to move that over, right, and align it with that first peak there, which is cool. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to hit warp, hit repitch, boom, and I'm going to essentially, wait, what am I doing? I'm actually going to, yeah, I'm going to click on that. I just got confused for a second there. I'm going to adjust the BPM, and I'm going to kind of align it a little bit, so, right, so that things kind of match up more, right? And give that a go. Or you hear that click there because of this fade. I want to actually fade that in like so, right? So there's no click there. Right now we have a click. Not something that we want. Right, there's that. And yeah, what does this sound like? Right, and we're getting more of an alignment with our waveforms here, which is pretty cool. And that is I kind of like a basic layering of kicks. So let's layer some more. Just gonna set it back to narrow. So let's look at some more kicks here. Right, so there's that right there. I'll just adjust the fade. Right, I'm adjusting the fade because the overall click is getting shaped off, and this is kind of a safety measure so you don't get a click when something starts right away in the middle of a waveform. You want it to be like that. It starts like so, and there's that. I like that kick because of the snappiness of it. I'm gonna select another one. That's cool. I want that kind of a low end situation. Gonna create a new track here. All right, so that has a low end there. So let's take a look at what we have here. We have a click that we like, right? So let's do what you do, and you add an EQ to there, and I just want to isolate that click. Right? So effectively taking off the majority of the low end. Well, basically almost all of it. Still going through. If I want to, shave it off even more, I'll select the 4-pole. I selected oversampling. Right, so I got more of a mid-range, or the mid kind of stuff going on there. And here's this one. Right, and what I want to do is select that. So this is just kind of, I guess, traditional layering. I don't want that click in there, so I'll just get rid of the utility. And I'll just add in the EQ8 and then just roll off the highs. And what do these sound like? Right, and the peaks and stuff like that, we'll just align that. And there you have that. Or whatever, you can even have this as like a mid-rangey thing. This. Kind of like a hardcore, oh wait, I didn't even have that. You do that and that, right? You get more of that fuzz in there. And then this one here could be, our sub. And this has been done since the beginning of time. So all those together. Look at that. Right, maybe a little bit too extreme. Right, and then we can adjust the volume to taste. And things like that, which is, pretty fun as well. Let's do another example. So this is how I kind of do it, more or less. So I find something like this, something with a nice kind of click in there. And then I'll find a low end one. Come on. Okay, good enough. All right, so I have that and that, right? So why would I even have this material here, like this stuff here? What I can actually do is shorten this up and then actually drag this down into that. And what Ableton will do is it'll kind of create a crossfade. And this is the important part that I really like. I like that snappiness of it. But what I can do is I can actually fade these into each other, right? And the waveforms are now kind of matched, faded in. And I have that, I guess, for more impact. Or I get the, not more impact, I get the click that I want compared to the body of the kick, like the low end, and then the snappiness of that, right? Super fun. Another way I can go about doing something like this is, I really like this kick here. Take that. Another technique is layering with a cymbal, a closed hi-hat cymbal. That's probably a good example there. Adding the little snappiness of the cymbal, because that'll cut right through the mix, and that'll give us, cool sound, right? Right? And we can pitch it up and down. Or if we want to get adventurous, we can find a nice kind of percussive hit. That's really cool. Just shave that off. Right, and then you have your top end component. You can have a bunch of stuff. You can have like white noise blasts or what have you, and yeah, there's that. So beyond this, what we can do is, we have this here, which is a really cool low end. Let's duplicate this and let's give it some more, I guess, buttocks. So this is we're getting into the parallel processing of the sub here, right? So we have this sub, but if we copy it and we add in something that will give it a bit of, harmonics and, distortion and color and fun stuff. Look at high quality, right? We can do all sorts of fun stuff with that. Right, with some tape, maybe give it more bands, so things are kind of affected per band. Give it some volume and certain frequencies. And maybe kill the low end. Right, we effectively have some richness that we can mix into it. I'll just high pass that. Right, so let's give that a listen with the sub and the affected signal, which I'll have red. And that's adding some interesting harmonics over top. And then we have our attack here. All right, so overall, we have that. What else can we do? Well, don't stop there. We can do all sorts of stuff. Let's drop an EQ. We've effectively grouped them all up. Right, so we can see what we're doing here. We have more harmonics there. Let's let's I guess EQ this. Right, so this is not really part of layering, but it can be because do this. Right, we can do that, and then this will be one layer. Let's add just more kicks and stuff, like nothing's stopping you. Or even a bass, right? And, it's only a matter of time before I mentioned side chaining. But yeah, side chaining is also very useful for your kicks to certain parts not cancel each other out in a way. Right, we have that. Then we can get more into, I guess, the sound design aspect of the thing, which would be like an extreme brick wall filter, which Pro Q3 does now, which is pretty cool. And then, that's in C. We can add it to a sampler or whatever, but, we'll just pitch that down. Right. Right. And from here, I can adjust the release of it. Right. And within groups, with Ableton, you can have groups within groups now. And, do this, and let's just compress that. Maybe give it pumping. Right, so now we're getting more into, like, I guess, big room stuff, but it's basically how it's done. It's just, you just keep on layering, experimenting, and things like that. Let's take it another step further. I'm going to actually resample this. Just basically recording it and kind of committing it to disk. And what I'd like to do is I like to actually just delete. And I have this now, which is pretty cool. I can see all these interesting things, the high-end transient kick kind of percussion-y thing that I added, and then the transition to that, and then to like the kick fundamental, which will really hit the subs, and then this interesting, it looks like frequency modulated, like a offbeat kind of thing, all combined within the kick sound here. And from here, maybe I'd want to do. Well, what I can do is I can actually consolidate that. And there's that. What else can I do? Maybe some stuff within the envelope. Or, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. What I can do is layer some more stuff within that kick. So I'm going to duplicate that. I want some sort of space in there. So I just added a Pro R. Right? So this is another layering technique, which is more, I guess, effect, but we're going to do it in a layering way. for lack of a better explanation. Right, so we have that. And let's just say that we're happy with that. We can freeze that and then flatten. And there you have, oh, I might want to do that. Oh, that's actually pretty cool, which would give us kind of a tail. But yeah, let's just keep that there. Right, so there's that basketball in a gymnasium sound. What we can do is we can kind of fade that. We can give it more of like a gate situation. And, you know, we're getting more into kind of sound designy sort of things. And we can adjust the overall vibe of that reverb. And we can make it more dark just by simply giving it a low pass filter, which is, you know, an EQ, but whatever. Right, and I'll just color that something else. Right, I don't want... Right, kind of adjusting things as I go into taste, more or less. That sounds pretty cool. From here, we can take a look at the stereo image of it. Adjust the width, really important, especially if the track is kick centric. Right, and there's that. Right, and from here, let's duplicate that, and maybe we can, just for fun, we'll just add in a drum bus to this one. Right, there's that, and it's like really crunchy. Let's just... that. Okay, so what I like to do, and what I've been doing lately is taking things to the extreme and then kind of making them work. And what this does is kind of forces you to do things that you really wouldn't do. I'm going to add in just an EQ8, get that oversampled. Right, I like that. And there's just a lot of stuff going on. It sounds pretty cool. I'm going to try to make it work. And there's that. There's like this that rumble. It almost kind of gives you a bit of fear in a way. And, you know, if you want something dark and aggressive, why not, right? Right, and that's on the reverb. Yeah, more of a rumble. Let's continue. And note, I'm not going to touch that utility. I'm actually going to make it centered. Okay, so from here, what I could do is really get in there with an EQ and shape that up. And this is just, this is kick layering. and that's just that rumble, that Mackie mixer that's overdriven, and it's been just degraded and abused. Which is pretty cool. Right, and from here, I want to do a bit of automation on that, and I'll use a tool for that. Just want to shape that a bit. Right, and this gives it movement. Right, so from here, let's group those. Let's look at our creation. Right, kind of looks like that. And that is super fun. And, you know, from here, you mix, you look at it, and, you know, don't stop there. Keep on going, and you'll eventually get this really cool sound. You know, if you want to kind of just poke through that mix in that warehouse. Right? Then we'll gently roll off that high end. Or add some upward expansion. Who knows? Anyway, I hope that video was arousing. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned stuff. Take care and have a good one.